Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic. So America, how's life under Joe Biden going? Less material for the late night comedians to work with. I think Trump was terrible for late night comedians. It's like if they made NBA hoops 7 feet instead of 10, and then everyone got excited for how many more dunks there would be, but it would end up just making the game boring AF. My favorite dark joke from the O.J. Simpson trial was when Letterman said, "I think Leo did it just for the material." SourceCon has been disappointing so far. What's SourceCon? SourceCon, those nuts go team. Sorts by controversial. Deleted, 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 deleted. If you think this is bad, try to sort that way any recent post on the missile situation. It's nice to feel plain old disappointment and frustration, rather than rage and horror. Saw that take here in Germany back when everything first turned into a dumpster fire. Suddenly everybody was happy that our politics is boring to follow, seeing what was going on the other side of the globe and all. Except a good portion of the US is still scarily devotes to Eric's dad. You know how Reddit is going to react to this lol. Reddit breathed a collective sigh when the 80-year-old career politician was elected. Only in politics is being an outsider considered a bonus. You'd never hear anyone say, "Sure, my doctor may not have a medical degree, but he tells it like it is." Or "My lawyer never went to law school, but he seems like someone you could really sit down and have a beer with." This is because everyone secretly believes that there's no actual skill to governing. People look at elected officials and think, "I could do that. Why don't they just do the easy, obvious things that I know will fix the problem?" It's that attitude that makes politics one of the most popular professions for con men. And hey, if anyone calls them on their bullshit, just claim it's a political hit job by your opponents. So yeah, I'll take a career politician any day of the week. At least they know how to do the work. People are obsessed with this Shreddiger's Biden, where he's simultaneously a senile old fool and also a grandmaster political operative. He's just a milquetoast centrist who serves the business interests of America, just like every other goddamn president. And I'll take that any day over Trump, whose policies were ruining the lives of my friends and neighbors on a daily basis. Edit, EW. Okay, I guess my by far most loved post ever is me defending a centrist. I feel gross. Let me be clear, things are fucked up. The American government works the will of big business rather than the will of the people. We need real structural change to fix that, and Biden will not bring about that change. He was not my first choice. I would have preferred Sanders, or Young, or Warren. But I'm glad he got elected over Trump, a man who saw the presidency exclusively as an opportunity to loot the country in order to enrich himself, his family, and his allies. You have to stop the bleeding before you can heal the wound. None of which was the point of my original comment. All I wanted was to point out that it's fucked up that people see experience and skill at governance as a dowsed in politics. Carry on. P.S. Reddit's a whole, don't pay them to give me awards. Donate the money to someone who needs it. 80-year-old career politician vs 74-year-old con man on speed. I haven't seen the word Bernie so far in this thread, which is a small surprise. I have now. The poor are still getting poorer, the rich are still getting richer. If it makes you feel somewhat better, that's not just happening in America but in the rest of the world too. Which is still messed up, but shared misery is the best misery I heard. Edit, to all those who are talking about the statistical decline of poverty, those facts remain and are real, although it doesn't mean that the opposite can't happen as well, since sometimes the most unlikely things happen. Edit 2, thanks for the award, first time I ever received one, and also thanks for the upvotes. Edit 3, I'm not going to reply to the comments anymore nor hear from any. I wanted to remark that despite the differences, both are valid, your opinion and mine and everyone else's. If they are different, then it's based of different experiences and knowledge, and I don't intend to fight about it because in the end I can't force my opinion onto you, nor will I be completely sure whether I'm right or wrong. Edit 6. This post was originally intended not to be factual but be a simple just talk comment packed with sarcasm to an extent paired up with the typical saying that misery likes company, so basically nothing too literal but more figurative. Of course most people wouldn't feel better hearing that things are bad for others too, but the idea was set on more we're all in this together. To sum it up, don't take it too serious nor think too much about it. Also saying that it's the same everywhere doesn't mean that the world is completely down or bad now. I apologize if it came off as harsh or mean-spirited. Woohoo, everything sucks. It isn't just us. Per second. Damn, this thread is insane. Who needs Russia or China when you guys act like you literally want each other dead over internal politics? Or maybe that's what they wanted. It's what they wanted. Mission success, comrade. After he took away my guns and meat, he made me get an abortion. I wasn't even pregnant. Made me turn into a woman just to get an abortion. Then he doubled down, and when I was back to being a man, he turned me into a seahorse and made me have another abortion. Made sure I didn't invoke Jesus Christ in either case. As a Brit, I'm just fucking glad every thread and news article doesn't start with Trump anymore. News outlets probably miss the ad revenue from 30 Trump stories a day. Trump was the best thing to ever happen to CNN, lol. As an American, I agree. As an Earthling, I agree. I honestly forget Biden's president sometimes since we aren't bombarded with headlines about him. I've always taken the position that the presidency and its administration mostly affect 20% of the American population, the top 10% and the bottom 10%, economically speaking. The rest of the bell curve will not really see any major changes to their lives, regardless of whether the administration is blue or red, and you won't be able to really notice any major changes due to a shift in presidency. Obviously, this is an extremely general take, and you can pinpoint specific policies that can and do have major immediate and long-term effects, but I'm speaking very generally on a day-to-day basis, that for most of Americans, life just goes on, and for the most part, will be the same. So to answer your question, life isn't that different over the past 5 months from the previous 4 years. Local elections and politics matter so much more to the average person's daily life than the president. And yet if you asked nearly anyone who their representatives are in their local or even state legislature, you'd get a blank stare. Reddit is suffering from lack of meme material. Deleted. As someone who lives in New Zealand, it's nice not having to see America on our news for such ridiculous things anymore. Went a whole week without hearing anything major about Biden. He's relatively boring, and it's a huge relief. Yep, that's exactly what I want from presidents now, boring adult-minded people that work to solve problems. As someone who lives in Canada, it feels like the peace and quiet you get when the crackheads get evicted from the apartment below you. More disappointed than I'd like, less disappointed than I expected. His admin is doing stuff I like, but the situation at the border is still very wrong. Yeah, I wasn't surprised when they locked reporters out of the detention centers. I was still frustrated when the media dropped it completely. Like, the border abuse still matters when it's not a Republican in office. But lately Democrats seem to deport a lot more and get less criticism for it. Obama deported more in his first term than Trump did in his term. I wish Democrats were actually better with the border, but they aren't. It's sadly all just lip service. Well, the Onion has to actually work for their pay now. r/Ohio gonna need bracelets again too. What the fuck kinda answers would you expect from Reddit Mayo? Ones that bring in karma. B-days are awesome. I hate tipping. Have you heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect? I don't know anything about economics, but I will tell you everything about it. My life is so far removed from the presidency, it is pretty hard for the president to either make things that much better or worse. The legislative branch has a bigger impact as they make the laws and spend the money, but they are operating the same as always. That is true no matter who the president is or what party they are part of. Laughs in my plans to become the Emperor of the US. Honestly, not much has changed other than people not talking about how Biden is still doing many of the bad things Trump did. Don't get me wrong, some changes have been made, but not really what we've been criticizing Trump for. Kids in cages. Still there. Militarization of the police. Still happening. Drone bombing other countries. You guessed it. Hell, Biden even appointed Lloyd Austin, former member of the board of radio, to be the Secretary of Defense. It's nice to not have to care anymore is something I hear a lot. Honestly, if you only cared about a lot of these issues because the president was a jerk, but you don't care anymore because the new guy isn't, you never really cared about the issues. He set up a task force to reunite families that were separated under Trump's policies. The number of children held by U.S. Customs dropped 88% between late March and late April. https://bbc.com/news/slash-us-canada-564050009. And we can't forget the executive order to cancel contracts with private prisons. Taking the plague seriously is also a big bonus. Kids in cages objectively has undergone massive change. Only the same if you bury your head in the sand. The police are already militarized. It's not still happening, it just hasn't been undone in 4 months. If you expected it to be undone in 4 months, you're high. I don't remember Biden promising to stop all drone strikes. In fact, I'm pretty sure a part of his platform was protect vital interests. So if you expected something that he didn't even talk about, that's on you. Kids in cages objectively has undergone massive change. Only the same if you bury your head in the sand. Seriously, the number of children being held in by U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, has dropped 88% between late March and late April. Did they think Biden was going to pull a wand out of his pocket and magically undo that mess in an instant? These things take time and things actually are improving, even if it is happening slower than we'd like.